How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video here on Brass Bangin'. Today we're going to be talking about this right here. This is my custom Glock 43X. We're going to be talking about what it is, what makes it quote unquote custom, and why I love it so much and why I'm just so pumped to talk about it here in a video. So with that, let's get the video started. Once again, welcome back to the channel, guys. I know it has been a hot minute since we made one. Things have just been happening, life's been happening, but that's no excuse, so that's why we are back here again to talk about my custom Glock 43X. Let's get started talking about this badass gun we got right here. So it's no secret that Glock handguns straight out of the box, they leave a little bit to be desired. They leave a little bit on the table, and that's where aftermarket companies can come in and provide some value and some much needed upgrades that can make this Glock go from a average standard handgun to something that is really exceptional and really escalates the level and quality of the gun as a whole. So straight out of the box, the Glock handguns don't always have the best grip on them. They sometimes can be a little bit slippery, especially when your hands get sweaty. When it's dry, you might be able to get away with it, but then when your hands start sweating, especially if you're out in the summer heat, it can be a little bit slippery and hard to grip and handle. So stippling is one of the most important things that I wanted to get done to this gun. So I went to a local guy here in Wilmington, North Carolina to get this stipple job done. He's a super cool guy, so I'm gonna leave his information right here. If you are anywhere in relatively close to the eastern North Carolina area, definitely hit this guy up. He's a super cool guy and does some quality work on the stippling as well. So when he did the stipple job, he used a laser to cut out the outline, and then he hand stippled the interior of where he had cut out. And then he also, up here in the front, hopefully you can see this, he added a little indentation and stippling up front on both sides, so that now I have a little bit extra grip for my left thumb when it's coming forward to grip the gun when I'm shooting, and also my right pointer finger when I'm indexing and manipulating the gun. I have better grip and control on the front of the frame. And that's just a small thing that goes a long way to improving the usability of the gun as a whole. The last thing they did when they did the stipple job was they did an undercut here beneath the trigger guard, which is a very common Glock modification. A lot of people say that you can't get a high enough purchase on the gun, so having this undercut allows me to get my hands up just a little bit higher underneath the frame, below the trigger guard, so I can grip and manipulate the gun a lot easier. And it's just made shooting and handling this gun a lot easier and made me a lot more confident when holding it, because I just have a stronger, firmer, more solid grip on the gun. And the next thing that you may have already noticed that we did to this gun is we have a new slide on here now. This is the True Precision Glock 43 slide. And so this slide is made to work on the Glock 43, the Glock 43X, and it is awesome looking. It is pretty badass. It's got the ports on the side and on the top, so it looks cool, and that's all fine and dandy. It might give you a little bit extra reduced recoil, and it might help out just reducing the overall weight of the gun. But more importantly for me, the main functionality of this aftermarket slide here by True Precision is that it gives me the optics cut. I've been wanting to put a red dot on this Glock 43X for a long time, and I haven't been able to because it's kind of just a hassle. As I'm sure as many of you know, if you have a gun that has not been cut already for an optic, you have really two main options. You can either go send your slide off to get milled and cut for the optic that you want to throw on there, or you have to go out and purchase a new slide that is already cut. And for me, I kept putting it off. I didn't want to send my gun off and have it gone for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, potentially even longer depending on the company. They all have different turnaround times, but I didn't want to send my gun off and be without my gun for an extended period of time. And additionally, this has the cool factor of just looking cool. So I decided, why not get the immediate solution, go out and just buy a Glock 43X slide that I can throw on there that's already been cut. And so that's what I ended up doing. The local store near me had some of these True Precision slides, and I went ahead and grabbed one. And I do want to mention, I did have to transfer everything over from my old slide, so now I have just a random 43X Glock slide. just sitting around with no internals anymore. But switching the parts over is very easy and very simple to do, and it wasn't a hassle by any means. The hardest part is the sights, which we're going to get to in just a second. So let's move on to the sights now. Obviously, you've already noticed, I'm sure, we have a red dot sight on top of here. So this is the Holosun 407K. When I was looking at red dot sights, I obviously had Holosun kind of at the forefront of my mind because I knew that they make excellent optics that are at a very decent price, very reasonable, competitive price, but they more importantly make durable optics that have insane battery life compared to the competition out there. Most of them, if not all of them, have these side loading battery ports, so when you do have to change the battery, you don't have to take the optic entirely off, put it back on, and then re-zero it. You can just slide this little tray out, put the new battery in, slide it back in. And we're going to make a separate video on this optic here specifically, but I went with the Holosun 407K over the 507K because one, I wanted the larger 6 MOA dot. I felt that I wanted to be able to have the larger dot so I can find it quicker and easier, and not to mention it's a fair bit cheaper. It's at least $100 cheaper from what I could tell. So I went ahead and picked up the 407K, and I have been absolutely loving it. I obviously got it in green, as you know, as always, because I cannot recommend green dot optics enough. And it's been awesome. I think I actually like this optic even more than the Holosun 507C that I have on my Shadow Systems MR920. This thing just, I don't know, something about it, it works well. I love it. It just fits me well and it works amazing. And lastly, and unfortunately the most boring modification we have done, is the iron sights. I did this as soon as I got the gun on my old slide. As soon as I bought it, I ditched those trash Glock stock sights and put on some night sights. These are Ameriglows. Could not recommend the brand Ameriglow enough. They make some very, very, very solid options for your iron sights. And although I said this was the most boring upgrade that we've done, it's also the most important. If you could only do one of these modifications that we've done to this gun here, it needs to be the iron sights. As soon as you buy a Glock handgun, that should be the first thing on your agenda, is ditching those trash stock Glock sights and putting on some night sights that are solid metal like these here. Now I do have to say, unfortunately, I did mess this thing up a little bit. When I transferred the iron sights from the old slide that I had to this new slide here, this True Precision slide, I didn't want to wait for a store to be able to do it. I decided I wanted to try and do it at home without any of the tools that you're supposed to have to do it properly. And I basically took a metal punch and a hammer and just hammered away, pushing the sight out of the old slide and hammered it back into this new slide and got it pretty much roughly centered until I could actually go and shoot it at the range. And in the process, I marred up the side of this slide just a little bit. I mean, it's not terrible, it's not horrible, but it doesn't have that like perfect look anymore. But to me, that's all part of the process. I'm one of those people that instead of waiting to have someone else do something, I would just rather try it on my own. And even if it messes my product up in the meantime. But it's okay, now this slide has some scars, as you could say, and I have a little story to tell going forward in the future. It doesn't look perfect, but honestly, I don't care. This gun is for a purpose, a use, and I conceal carry this gun, so it does not need to look pretty, it just needs to perform, which it does very, very, very well. So that is my custom Glock 43X. I think it looks pretty badass now. It's got the slide with the ports on it and the red dot sight on top and the two-tone because of the stippling. But more importantly than any of that stuff, I've increased the usability and the effectiveness of this handgun in my control because I have enhanced the grip, I've enhanced the sights, and now I'm able to better use this gun and be more efficient with it. So going forward, when you are doing modifications to your handguns, remember that you need to keep in mind the primary purpose and use and need for that upgrade, and make sure that you're not just doing it for appearances. I have been loving carrying this gun. It shoots so well. I love this red dot sight. I love having the grip on the gun, and this is now even better than the 43X was before. And the 43X was already my go-to concealed carry handgun, and it's now been improved. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and got something out of it. If you did, leave a like down below on the video and comment with your thoughts and opinions. Do you have some of these upgrades that you've done yourself, or are you thinking about getting them done? And we're watching this video to see what it would look like, what my thoughts and opinions are on those upgrades. Would love to hear your thoughts and opinions. And if you want to see more videos like this one going forward, subscribe to the channel. When I look at the analytics, a large percentage, most of you guys are not subscribed to the channel. You're just watching these videos and then you're leaving. What are you doing? Come on, subscribe to the channel. I want to see you guys stick around. See you guys in the next one. Have a great day.